Hi, Brenton Ford here. Welcome to Feedback Friday. In today's video, we're looking at a swimmer who's doing triathlons and he's been stuck at the same pace for the last couple of years. So let's have a look through his stroke and see what we can find and see what we can work on over the next couple of weeks and months to then help him get his times down. So from this side position, you'll see that his body position is pretty good. We can get the hips and the heels a little bit higher in the water. His legs are going to be creating some drag there. My guess is a lot of that drop in body position is actually being caused by what his arms are doing through the stroke. So let's have a look at that now. If we look at head position just before that, you'll see that overall head position is quite good. He's looking within the range that we like to stick to. He may be pushing the head a little bit too deep, so you can see the head's completely submerged in the water. I like to try and get just the top part of the head out of the water, but that might change if we do work on the catch in the pool. So that's something that we just kind of look for. But in terms of where he's looking, pretty good. It does look as though the head is being pushed in the water just a little bit too much, and you can kind of see that through this somewhat shrugged position in the water. So he may just want to back off the pressure that he's putting through his head and pushing down in the water. I like to keep a long neck and tuck the chin back that way. So it's almost like chest out instead of pushing that chin forwards. That can be a good distinction to make. Now, looking at the hand entry, so he actually enters the water quite well. Fingers are first, extending forwards well here. Now, if you look at this left arm, see how it does go down very deep, very early. Now, this is actually quite a good position. You can see he's actually in that high elbow catch position. And the way we define that is, as you finish your catch, if we draw a line from the shoulder to the hand, is that elbow in front of that straight line. So this is actually a very good position, and he moves through this phase of the stroke really, really well. It does look to me though, on a lot of the strokes, that he actually comes in and just kind of spears down a bit too deep. I'd like to see him extend forwards a bit more, keep the hand in motion going forwards, and then start the catch, because I think he's missing out on the majority of this catch phase, the setup phase. He does get to a good position here when he's moving through the power phase, but I think he's just creating a little bit more drag than what's required, or than what he should be, just because the hand does go down very deep, very early. Right hand, nice extension. That's a much better position to be in, and he's moving through that quite well. Now, one of the things that stands out to me here is on his breathing strokes, we do see that hand push down a lot. So as he's getting that breath, rather than keeping this this hand kind of extending forwards, keeping the hand in motion a bit while he's getting the breath, you do see the hand in the forearm somewhat pressed down, and he goes quite deep and straight with that arm, and as he gets the breath. So we just look to really improve this catch position on the breathing strokes in order for him to be able to get the breath a bit easier, but also to get a lot more out of the stroke. Now, the other thing that he does here, which might be causing the hand to go a little bit too deep too early, see how far back he's pushing with his hand. So the arm's almost fully extended out the back, and he does actually get a little bit stuck through this last part of the stroke. So what we typically want to see is a little bit of elbow bend as you're pressing back past the hip and as the hand exits. Then it's really easy to just bring that hand naturally over into the recovery. Whereas if you push so far back that you've got nowhere else to go, 9 times out of 10, your hand's going to get, or your arm's going to get stuck and kind of caught, and it's hard to get that arm out into the recovery. So we want this really smooth transition from the exit of the hand into the recovery, but that requires you to exit, not at full extension, but a little bit before that. So you can just see it here when that hand does get stuck. I think on this stroke here, a little bit there too. So we just need to exit a little bit sooner. If we have a look at some other views here, so from the side with the recovery, nice recovery over the top here. This is great. So leading with the elbow, nice and open, relax with that arm, enters in a good position. Comes over somewhat high there, but I don't mind that at all, particularly if you're doing triathlons in open water. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nice hand entry again. We've got the fingers first, elbow up. So in terms of with that recovery, that's really good. You can just see there on a few of those strokes where that hand does get stuck a bit out the back. Breathing's looking all right too. Let's just see there. Okay, not bad. So we can get that breath a little bit lower. So that bottom goggle, ideally, we want to keep in the water, but he's not lifting his head too much, but we can work on getting that slightly lower. Now, looking from this top view, here we like to look at the alignment. And if you've seen any of our videos before, you'll know that we talk about train tracks, entering and extending forwards on those train tracks. So the left hand here enters across the head a little bit. So we'd want to try and bring that out a little bit wider. He does get into a much better position here. This is quite good. And then this right hand comes over. See where this right one enters? See how wide that is of the shoulder? It's about 20 centimeters wide of the shoulder there in terms of in line with it. So right here in this position, he's going to be creating a lot of drag through this part of his arm, and that's going to be somewhat opening like a parachute out in front of him. That's going to be slowing him down quite a bit. Now he does bring it back in line with the shoulder, which is good, but you can see on those breathing strokes right here, we've lost that front quadrant stroke. So right now there's no arms out in front of the head. And the goal is to try and have at least one arm or one hand in front of the head at all times, because that gives you something, well, gives you stability, gives you something to balance on. Whereas one of the things that we see pretty regularly at clinics and at camps and through the online coaching is swimmers have that tendency when they breathe to pull through too soon. So that does make it harder to get the breath and to get the timing of the stroke right. So, what we'd look to do here is a drill like 616 drill that can be really handy for working on that. But we do have a number of drills that we'd normally go through in order to help change that. So like in our online coaching membership, there's these four drill sequence that we normally give swimmers if they're doing that. And after 3 or 4 weeks, they'll typically be able to fix it for good. But it is just on those breathing strokes. Otherwise, the timing of the stroke is, that's all good. So we'd want to get that hand in line with the shoulder a bit more on that entry point. From the front, we haven't got the best angle here, but you can see this is actually quite good. So this is a great position to be in. You can see the arm angle here is about 100 degrees if we go from the shoulder to the elbow to the hand. Really strong position. Shoulders and upper arm is in line too, so that's terrific. That's what we want. And then this left hand, I think similar thing. He does get quite a good angle through there, and that's what we saw from the side as well. So in terms of, all right, how do we go about fixing some of this stuff? Well, the first thing we might look to work on is the catch phase of the stroke, not going down too deep too early, but working on the right amount of extension and then getting the fingertips to tip down. So we could start with something really simple like a kick on side drill, just get him to have that awareness around keeping the hand a little bit deeper than the underarm when he begins his catch. Then we'd look to go into a drill like single arm scoop drill, which is a good one just to work on that the left and the right arm catch. That could be a good way to start the process of improving his catch. Then with the hand exit, we might do something like the tricep extension drill. And we've got a number of other drills that we like to go through, which are inside the coaching membership. But I'd probably keep it simple. I'll just give him one thing to focus on at a time. And then with the alignment, again, that's kick on side drill is a really good one just to help with the alignment of the stroke. Now, the other thing that I just want to point out here is the speed of the hand in the pull through. When you're swimming, movement should be slow to fast. So that means out in front here should be slower than when you are finishing out the back. So we should see the hand accelerate through the stroke, and you'll see that with elite swimmers. So you can see that in this video right now of elite swimmer Solomon Wright. You can see the acceleration that he gets through the stroke, and it is slower out in front. So that's one of the most important things that you can do in your swimming, is to make sure that it's not this constant speed that you're moving with the arms. It is going to be slower out in front, and you will accelerate at the back there. That's how you keep the pressure on the hand and the forearm, and it's one of the common traits among all the elite swimmers there. And you can see in this video here, it's a little bit start-stop. You can see we don't really get that acceleration on all of the strokes, and the speed of the hand is just kind of not giving him as much from his stroke as he could possibly get. So there are a number of drills that we can go through for that, but I would work on these other aspects of it first. I'd work on the catch, on the exit, on the alignment, and then we'd look at the speed of the hand and the acceleration through the stroke. So it helps to go step by step with some of this. It is hard if you try and do too much at the same time. So I'd just give him a couple of drills to do in his warm-up, and then practice that for a few weeks, send in another video. I'd see how he was going, and then just sort of see, all right, what do we want to work on now? Has he made those changes, or do we still need to do a little bit more work on on the catch and so on from there. What I really look for particularly when I'm coaching people inside the membership, is we want these incremental improvements. So nothing happens overnight, particularly with swimming. It is a hard sport to master, but over the course of 6 months, 12 months and onwards from there, we typically see these little improvements every time, and we build on them from there. So let's say at the moment you're at a 2 minutes 10 pace per 100. In the next 12 months, we might look at getting you down to 150, 145 pace. Everyone's different, but looking at it in a realistic way and giving it enough time to ingrain the habits and change the motor patterns that you've currently got. So that's what I'd recommend for this swimmer here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe below if you're not already. And thank you to everyone who helped us get to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. It means a lot. Hope you enjoy these videos, and I'll see you next week.